Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Samantha Anderson. I am a freelance artist and teacher hoping to inspire creativity. If you would like more videos like these, please take a second to like and subscribe down below. It really helps in the algorithm of YouTube to help get my videos seen to more people. If you want to receive notifications of when I go live, please make sure to hit the bell and choose all notifications. If you have any questions during or after the class, make sure to pop a comment down below and I will answer it as soon as I can. I'll be leaving timestamps down below so you can skip ahead to the start of class, but I will be sharing announcements as well as supplies, so make sure to stick around for that. If interested in learning more about my classes, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and feel free to check me out on Patreon where I teach exclusive classes to those who support me. In Patreon, I also give traceables for all of my live classes, including this one. Lastly, if you would like to share your work after class with me and others who painted along with us, please head over to Facebook as I have an artist community where you can share your finished painting with us. I'll leave links for all of that in the description box below. Thanks for joining me and let's get started. Hello everyone. Welcome back to another live class. I'm super excited for this one because of just how bright all of the colors are. Before we get started, I do want to point out my sincerest apology for everybody who is over on Facebook. I have no idea why Facebook events was being a little crazy, but for those of you who know, or for those of you who don't know, Facebook events just like spammed a ton of notifications for the same post that I made this morning. Like people were getting 20 post notifications. And that was not me. That was not my doing. So please don't block me or anything like that. I hope that never happens again. I don't know why it happened. There was just a glitch of some sort. So I apologize if you got a ton of notifications. But yeah, here we are. We're gonna have fun in class. I appreciate you all being here, and we're gonna have fun tonight. Okay. Yeah, welcome in. Say hi in the comments. Let me know where you're painting from. I always love hearing where everybody's painting from, or maybe how you got started. I know COVID was like a huge thing of how people got started in painting, and a lot of you have continued that journey, which is super cool. That's actually how I started painting online, was because everything kind of just disappeared, and I was like, well, I want to still do this, but I can't do it in person, so I started it online. And yeah, that's why I'm here. So if that's why you're here, then hi and welcome. If this is your first time painting with me, feel free to subscribe. I have a ton of classes, not only on Facebook, but also, or not only on YouTube, but also over on Patreon with like exclusive classes. So feel free to have a look around. I have a ton of classes. I also do watercolors occasionally. And yeah. Speaking of Patreon, if you are someone who doesn't like drawing things yourself, maybe you don't have time, or you don't feel like you have the skill, or maybe you're just not up for it, I do have a traceable in my Patreon. It's essentially to say thank you for those who support me, so it's available to the lowest level, and I've actually changed my tiers to reflect that. So the lowest level is $5 a month. You can stay for 1 month, so it's like a $5 tip, or you can stay for multiple months. It's up to you, but you'll get you'll have access to not only this month's traceables, so like 3 or 4 other traceables as well, but you'll also get access to literally everything that I've ever had in my Patreon in terms of traceables. So that's a really cool thing. So if you've been eyeing other classes to paint with, that's a great option if you want access to the traceables or want to support me in that way. Let me go ahead and look at the comments. Alberta, yes, fall is here. Yes, fall paintings, go onto my profile. I actually just posted a couple of, actually no, yeah, did I post? No, I haven't posted. Kenzie, are you a patron? I'm blanking on whether or not you're a patron. I am about to post a sneak peek of everything, and I'm so excited. I have like a pumpkin with some words. I have a pumpkin one with like some fireflies in there and some fall. I have like a firefly one, and I'm really excited for it. So if you're a patron, you'll get a sneak peek. You'll get a sneak peek of what we're doing. Otherwise, you won't know until about maybe 3 or 4 days, getting closer to next month. But I do have some fun ones. I actually was so excited for fall that I not only picked out next month's paintings, I also picked out November's paintings because I had so many that I was like, how am I going to pick? I'll just do both months. Anyways, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go over the supplies, and then we'll get into our painting, okay? Okay, so yes, again, I have my traceable. That is not only pinned in the comment section, it's also in the description of this event. It's in most of the posts that I post on Facebook. Speaking of Facebook, if you are not on Facebook, please go over there and subscribe. I'm going to post a link right now. That is where I post probably 95% of all of my content is over on Facebook. So schedules, just like Kenzie was saying, things like future classes. I also have events that make it really easy to share, comment, or like get reminders about classes. Hopefully Facebook doesn't freak out and send you 20 notifications. Hopefully that was a one-time thing. But yeah, if it continues to do that, I just won't tag people in a post. I'll just post it. But yeah, so it makes it really easy to share and things like that. So if you're not over on Facebook, please go over there, follow me there, and subscribe to my channel, because then you'll also get notifications of when I plan to go live and things like that. So Facebook, YouTube, Patreon, and Patreon I also have other classes, but I'll go over that in a little bit. As for brushes and things, I have certain brushes that I like to have just on hand at any given moment, and then I have a ton of brushes over off to the side that I kind of pick and choose depending on what we're doing. So for these classes, my go-to brushes are a medium to large filbert. I have a small filbert. I have a large round brush that I use for texture. It's my cloud brush, it's my texture brush, my dry brushing brush. And specifically, you can see that it's very, it's kind of roughed up. It's not necessarily the smoothest looking brush, and that's because it's for my texture. So we're going to be using it in our clouds today. So if you have a brush that is either a little bit more textured, maybe not so, it's not new, that is your brush that you want to get out for this technique, okay? I like using the round brushes. You can also use a filbert brush, but I prefer the round brushes. It's easier for me to use. And then I have two small brushes, two small round brushes. One is a little bit more blunt at the end, so it's easier to make like round circles or things like that. And then I have a small round brush that's a little bit more pointed. And then off to the side here, I always keep a liner brush on hand. So these are like my go-to brushes for all of my classes. Occasionally we'll have a couple other, brushes here and there, but it's totally up to you when we get there, what you want to use, okay? I have 2 things of water. I like to have 2 just in case one gets super, super dirty and I'm dealing with white or bright light colors, which I don't think that we'll have a problem with that this time around, because we're ending in the black. We're starting with the colors, but it's nice to have just in case. And then I have a flat palette with a currently dirty palette knife. Let me just fix that. I have a palette knife for mixing my colors ahead of time. If you are new and you have troubles with mixing colors or blending, I highly recommend getting yourself a flat glass palette. They're super easy to clean, but also getting a palette knife that you can mix your colors before you use them. So pre-mixing your colors makes it a lot easier to be able to mix on canvas, as well as, one, you don't dirty your brushes, you don't dirty your water before you even get to painting, and then you also reduce the risk of putting like unmixed paint, like streaks of weird paint on your canvas. So sometimes when I mix with my brush, I'll mix it, think it's mixed, and I don't realize I have like a streak of raw, like plain color that's unmixed in my brush, and I'll go to put it on there, and then it just doesn't mix, it doesn't match. So that kind of that helps that process too. So if you're new and you have troubles with mixing, pre-mix your colors. That's what we're going to be doing in this class, to help us kind of mix all this background color. Okay. That's pretty much it. Let's go over some colors real quick. These colors can change. So if you decide you want different colors, you want less oranges and more blues, or I don't know, you want a green sky for all I care, you can choose whatever colors you want. Make it yours. It's your painting. But for the purpose of this pinkish purpley sky, I'm just going to go from lightest to darkest. I obviously have my white and my black, but I have my medium yellow, a orange, it's kind of more of like an orangey yellow, but it's my orange. I have a pink, a purple. My purple is violet, it's very dark. And then I have a phthalo blue and a brown. Now you might be thinking, why on earth would I need brown? Well, brown is very helpful in a lot of different ways. Mainly, if you see these clouds down here, those are like purpley brown. So unless you want to get out all the colors of the rainbow to make your brown, just have some brown on hand. It'll be helpful. Okay. Before we get started, does anybody have any questions? I get to read the comments a little bit more. Hello. Northern Virginia. Started in person with my daughter, then tried to find art online. Yeah. In person, I miss in-person ones. But a couple appointments, yeah, during COVID. All right. Yeah, if you have any questions, whether or not it's now or during class, just pop them down below, and I'll get to them as soon as I see them. If it's a question that's, needs to be answered. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is figure out where we want our horizon. I couldn't find any purple. Okay, if you don't have purple, I would just just use your pink and your blue, and that would suffice. That'll be fine. It probably won't be as dark as like a violet, but honestly, I'm gonna be, lightening mine up anyways. So I would just use what you have. Use your pink and blue. Or you can get out your red and blue. I would recommend doing pink and blue only because that will help curate the color towards our canvas palette versus entering in a red, which we're not using in this painting. At least I'm not. You could. But okay, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're doing is we're figuring out where our horizon is. So we are going to I'm going to get out a yellow. And this is so that it is going to be really easily covered up later. You could do black, but let me tell you, it's a lot harder to cover up a black than it is a yellow. So I'm just going to grab just one of my round small brushes, a little bit of yellow. And I'm going to figure out where my horizon is. Now, looking at this, I'm just trying to look at the photo. The horizon is about 1/4 to 1/5 of the picture. So if this is half, this is about 1/4. It's anywhere here. So you could use you could for sure just use some tape. But most of this horizon isn't really super straight anyways. So this part is like the only straight part that's really there. Okay, and if you wanted to, you could even like brush it out even more. Like, you know, if you maybe you got something that was too bright, or you feel like it's too dark, or whatever the case is. I'm just using plain yellow, and it's just a base. It's not like, oh, this is where the horizon is, like in case you mess up or anything like that. It's just a base. Okay. This is the part where you get to mess up. I give you permission to mess up, make a change, you know. Okay. So the other side of the canvas has mostly black, and we're going to put that in. It's about half the canvas. So figure out where half the canvas is. I'm gonna go a little bit below that, just because I want to make sure that I come down further than that, because I'm going to come up with that black, and I want to be able to have a little bit of leeway there. And this comes down like that a little bit, and it comes out a little bit more, maybe a little higher. About that. It doesn't have to look exactly like the reference. You are creating your own painting using this as inspiration. It does not have to look exactly like what we're looking at. And I went a little bit, this comes down a little bit. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, I think I went down a little bit too far. So I'm going to get a clean brush with some white, or with some water, and I'm just going to wipe it off, kind of move it up a little bit. Yeah, I like that. And all of this, think about like in watercolor, when you take your water and you actually lift the paint, because this paint, we're painting on just plain canvas with nothing under it, it's really easy just to take it off. But even then, I don't really need to do that because we're going to be painting black over it, and so it doesn't really matter. All right. Now that we have that, we're going to move on to color mixing. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes just to make sure you have that down, whether or not you're using the traceable or you're using this. Yeah, whatever you're using, whether or not you draw it on or you're using a traceable. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do that while I go over some quick announcements, classes that we've done in Patron and YouTube. Yeah. I said that I'm going to watch a replay. Perfect. We'll try to check in with the live in a little bit. No worries. Okay, last week we did, I did mention that I did a couple of, I do watercolor probably about once a month. Next month I don't have time for it because the first week is my birthday, so I'm not doing work on my birthday. I am choosing to take it off because I own my own business and I can do that. So next month we're not doing a watercolor, but this is the watercolor that we did last week, and look how beautiful it came out. These are the two different ones that we did. That's the one when I did for the class, and that's the one we did during the class. Both equally pretty. So if you like doing watercolor, definitely make sure to go check those out. I have a few flower ones. I really like doing flowers, loose flowers. And I have not done, for my Patreon, I usually share the Friday tutorial at this class, but I haven't done it yet. I'm going to do it within the next couple of days. Last week with all school, with all the school things that have been going up, we just started first grade and we're homeschooling, and so there's a lot going on right now with all the different activities that we're putting my son in. It's been a little busy. So in my Patreon, I haven't done the Friday tutorial yet, but I would do that in the next couple days, and it will go out on Friday. It might not be in the morning, depending on when I can edit it, but that will be going out on Friday. That being said, I don't have it to show you, but I'm excited. It's like a book with like flowers coming out of it and butterflies, and it's pretty. But that being said, I did want to show you, I usually don't show last month's Cobalt class because we're working on a new one, which I will show you, but I feel bad because we worked 2 months on this and I've only showed like the finished product once. Here's the finished product, just in case you missed last week, just in case you missed the finished product because we've been working on it for 2 months. This is it. Look how beautiful this came out. This is available to my Cobalt tier, so it's $20 a month. We did this over the course of 7 or 8 weeks, and it came out beautiful. I love all the detail. This one was specifically, we were working on detail. We were working on just being able to spend the time working on a painting, versus a lot of people go through a painting, an online painting, and you're supposed to get done in 2 hours. While that is satisfying to finish a painting in one sitting, being able to work on a painting over the course of 2 months, just painting once a week for about an hour and 15 minutes, and being done with it, like, it is so satisfying knowing not only how much work I put into it, but like just how beautiful it came out. So I wanted to share this again because I'm in love with it and I can't wait to put it on my bathroom wall so I can stare at it. Anyways, in my Cobalt class right now, we are working on something a little bit different. We are working on a dragon, and it's not your typical like fire breathing dragon, because sometimes they gotta sleep. Sometimes they gotta find a grassy land and rest. And this just felt so peaceful to me. We're doing a little bit more of an impressionistic style and less realism. So it does have some realism like aspects of it, but I'm not like trying to get it like perfect like the last one. Because it's a little bit more freeing, a little bit more abstract, not abstract, impressionistic. So like the blades of grass are very much like, it looks like grass, but it's not like it looks like a photo, right? So this is after 2 sessions. We finished the background pretty much. We have 1 more session of the dragon. I'm hoping to get it done in the next 1 session, but if we need to take 2, that's totally fine. We have 2 more weeks, but we're going to work on the dragon and then put in some yellow flowers because it's a flower field. So yeah, I'm really excited to share what I'm working on, what we are working on. I keep saying I, but it's really we. There's a couple people in there who are painting with me live, and it's really fun. Okay, hopefully everybody has their sketches down. Let's go ahead and move into color mixing. We are going to pre-mix all of our background colors. So the yellow oranges, the pinks, the purples, and all the varying things of that. We will be dry brushing in our clouds, so don't look at the clouds right now. And when I say clouds, I mean like the really dark clouds that are closer. We're going to be doing the pinks, the purples, and the oranges that are kind of like really far away. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. I already have some yellow out. I'm going to get out just a little bit more. Gonna get out a little smidge of orange. I'm gonna get out my pink. Clean up my pink because it's got dried paint all over it. All right, I'm actually going to move this over so you can see more of my palette. There we go. And then I'm also gonna get out my purple. Now again, this purple looks black. If I didn't say anything, you would have been like, why did you put black on your palette? I promise it's purple. It's so dark though. Every time I use this, sometimes I've actually gotten out this instead of black because I thought it was black and it was not. Okay, so those are the base colors. We're gonna go ahead and mix all these colors. Oh, I'm also gonna get out some brown. Well, no, we're gonna wait on the brown. I'm gonna wait on the brown until we start doing the clouds down below, because that's gonna be a different thing. I'm gonna grab my small. This is the small palette knife. Okay. And we're gonna go ahead and mix our colors. So I'm gonna start with the yellows. The yellows, it's not vibrant like this. It has a little bit of orange in it. So I'm gonna grab some of this yellow, grab just a tiny bit of orange. I don't want to color it too much because I don't want it to be too orange. So now I have two different yellows. I have a bright yellow up here and I have an orangey yellow. Then we're gonna do a little bit of this with a little bit more orange and a little bit of pink. I'm also gonna get out my white. I forgot to get out white. We are gonna need white in this for sure. I'm gonna grab some white here, and it's gonna make a little bit more of like a peachy orange. Maybe a little bit more pink. And we don't need a whole lot of this color, of these colors, because this is such a small section right here. All three of these colors are in this small section, so you're not gonna need very much. Okay, so I have that. Now I'm going to move into a little bit more of a light pink. So I have a little bit of that orange, mostly pink, and a little bit of white. A little bit more pink, maybe a little bit more white. Okay, that's a good pink. And let's go ahead and move a little bit more. I'm gonna grab some of this and with a little bit of purple, not that much purple. It's gonna take over. I'm going to add a lot of white to this. And I think I'm actually gonna need more, it's kind of more of a blue. It's got some blue in it, so I'm gonna grab some blue. And I will need more of this than the other ones because a lot of it is a lot of the background is this color. So I'm mixing purple, blue, pink, and white. Okay, so this is actually a really good color. I just want some of it to be a little bit more pink. So I'm going to take some of this and add my pink, purple, and white just to get a little bit more of a pink tone to it. And I still want it to be light in terms of like white. Alright, so I don't know if you can really tell on the screen, but I have my pure yellow, my yellow orange, my orange with a little bit of white in it. I've got my like creamy pink, my peachy pink, and then I have two different purples. I have a warmer pinky purple, and then I have like a blue purple. Okay, so those are the colors. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to catch up in case you are behind. And take note that these don't have to be exact. Don't try to get the colors exactly like mine. Use the color. If you find a color that you're like, that color is beautiful, but it's not on here, that's fine. Use it. Okay? I'm here to give you the tools and maybe the inspiration to create your own paintings, but by no means do you have to copy exactly what I'm doing. Please don't copy exactly what I'm doing. I know for some that can be helpful, and in that case, go for it. But if you're struggling to get, the exact color that I'm creating, it takes a while to be able to like color mix colors, especially if you're a beginner or maybe you're just not used to creating colors beforehand. But let me tell you, having this color palette right now is going to 100% help, especially when you're creating backgrounds with this much color in it, because you'll be able to blend as you go, instead of trying to then create a color and now you're trying to blend into a color that's already dried, and it just doesn't work. With acrylics, blend while it's wet. Okay? So now that you have all the colors that you want, we are just going to, we're going to kind of speed through the whole background. We're only doing one coat, so try not to use too much water. I got my brush wet. I did dip it in the water, and then I kind of dripped it off and dried it off a little bit so it's not dripping wet. The water will help the paint move, but I don't want to dilute the paint that I've already created, because we're only doing one coat. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this bright yellow, and once you start, you gotta just do it. Okay. I'm going to take this bright yellow, and I'm just going to put it on this whole bottom section. Now a lot of this is going to be covered with the kind of brownish purple clouds that I was talking about earlier, but I don't want to have to think about where those clouds are right now, so I'm just doing the whole thing yellow so that when it comes across me having to do that, then I can think about it. Alright, now I'm going to come in with a little bit of my orange yellow, and just in the sides here I'm just going to add some streaks. And while it's wet, you can go across the whole thing and just blend it in a little bit, And you can build it up. You can go in with maybe a little bit of white. Do a couple little streaks and then go over the whole thing and blend it in. The point with this is just to make sure it's not, perfectly smooth, or make sure it's not perfectly, color coordinated. You just gotta put the color in, blend it in a little bit. As we work up, I'm gonna start just moving down the colors. So I'm gonna start going into my my darker colors here. Sorry, this is so loud. Okay. Maybe I'm gonna go into my pink a little bit. I'm gonna go into my pink And this is where you can tell whether or not your pink is light enough, and I don't think mine is. I'm going to add some white to it. So I added a lot to my pink because it wasn't as light as it should be. And I'm just going to add a bunch of this pink and white creation I've just created all up in this area. And once I kind of start moving in that direction, I don't come back down. That's kind of a thing. Like, don't come back down, because once it's dried, you got to be done moving in that direction. So there is going to be a weird, almost brown area when you start moving from the orange to the purple. That is natural, and that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and go into this purple and bring it down from the top. And I'm just mostly coming in with my purple to finish out this top area. And then I'm just going to go into my pink to help blend that area. Alright, I'm going to take some of this pink and just kind of work my way up a little bit. And if you have a bright pink such as this, you can also use that to help kind of brighten up your sky a little bit. I use mine with a little bit of white. From this point, I'm just trying to add it in the kind of the motion that the clouds are going. All right. All right. So once you get your background pretty much done, we're gonna go ahead and create our clouds that are gonna go on top of that, and it's gonna make the background really pop because having those bright colors in the background and having these kind of dark purpley colors over top of it is really gonna make everything stand out and pop. Okay. So let me go ahead and just clean off this right now. Give me 1 second. I have to go get my little scraper. I have to say that, like, ever since I got my glass palette and this little scraper, it has been, I will never go back. I absolutely love having this here because I get to clean my palette like during class, and I was never able to do that with anything else that I've had before. So it's just, it's so nice. It's so helpful. Okay. Let's go ahead and create this background. With the exception, I'm going to go ahead and do a first coat of, while that all dries, I'm going to do a first coat of the ocean. There we go. Words. I'm going to do first coat of the ocean, and I'm going to do it in a kind of mid-tone pink, whatever color this is right here. It's kind of, that's kind of the color I want to do. I'm going to grab some pink, a little bit of orange, a little bit of white, maybe a little bit darker, a little bit of purple maybe. And I'm just going to add purple over on the side. And while this is all wet, I'm just going to add a little bit of white and yellow. Maybe add some pink to the bottom. Just like that. And the thing that I was focusing on was the light part of the light parts of it. We will be coming back over it with all of the dark parts. But we gotta get that, we gotta have that light in there first. All right, now that we have that, let's go ahead and make our, let's go ahead and make, why is this, I don't understand Do Not Disturb anymore, because I have it on Do Not Disturb, but I still get notified of everything going on. Oh, I apologize for the interruption. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our clouds. So let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and I am gonna get some black because clouds naturally have this kind of gray hue. So I'm going to use this purple tone that I already have just because I don't want to waste paint, and I'm going to add black to it, and we're just going to see what comes of it. Okay, I think I want a little bit more purple in there. If you're unsure about what it's going to look like, you're going to grab your texture brush. You're going to get no water on it. Do not put water on it. Just grab a little bit of this color. And up in the corner here where this kind of big one is going to be, you can start adding that color. And start seeing what it's going to look like. I think that is a pretty good color. Let me look at it face on. Yeah, I think I like that color. So what you're going to do now is you're just going to take this color and you're going to put it on wherever you want. But first, before I do that, I'm actually going to make a second color with a little bit of orange in it. That's going to create kind of that brown color that we were talking about earlier, the brown purpley color. did brown and orange. Or sorry, not brown and orange, purple and orange. Alright, now from here, I'm going to go ahead and put in these ones back here. And I'm just using my filbert and the natural roundness of this filbert. I'm going to use this brown color, brownish purpley color. Just kind of choose your own adventure, choose whatever you feel like doing. You can create all sorts of little ones. And for these ones that are a little bit more thicker, you can use a little bit of water. The ones that are a little bit more fluffy. The ones that are a little bit more like airy, you can kind of see through them a little bit. Those are the ones that you have a little bit less water on it, or maybe a little less paint. And you're just gonna have fun. You're gonna add just a bunch of clouds. And honestly, I'm just adding little blobs. I am adding blobs. That's what they are. Little blobs of color. And I'm gonna add just a little bit of orange down here at the bottom. Very watered down orange. Just to help with the kind of colors pop. Do you ever paint sometimes and you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing? Sometimes when I'm painting clouds, I just like scribble with my brush. Like, watch. I'm just gonna like, I have like the basic shape of what I want to do, and then I'm just gonna go, I'm just gonna scribble, 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 and maybe a scribble up here, and it looks amazing. Like, I love painting clouds like this because it's so freeing, and I feel like a child scribbling. I feel like a child just scribbling, and it's all gonna be okay. I don't know. It's fun. Alright, I'm gonna do this big one. I've been avoiding this big one because I feel like I'm gonna mess it up, and I'm just gonna go do. Like I said, it's all gonna be okay. You also don't have to do it. All right. Once you get in that, we're gonna go ahead and in black, we're gonna go over all the black parts, and that's pretty just this peninsula that we see. So I'm gonna grab my black. Which one is black? That one's black. Okay, just making sure. Just making sure. Okay. I'm gonna have to get more black though, so I might as well just put it on now. Alright, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take your black and you're going to, you're just going to get it on there. Sometimes that's the hardest part. You're going to fill in all the places where there's white. That's the first step to create this thing right here, this kind of peninsula of foliage, is to first cover up all of the white. Because unless you plan on fixing the background and adding more background, alright, so once you do that, you can start to create your foliage topping. Which, if you have a foliage brush that you like to use, you can use that. If you don't have one, you can do what I like to do with my filbert brush, and I'll show you. You might have already seen me do it a couple times. I will put my brush down and I'll just push it up. You can also just dab. You can dab. And you might need to do 2 coats of black, but don't worry about that. We will get there. Here's where you can shape certain things. Like if you want this kind of drop off, just kind of bring that up a little more. If you want this to extend a little more, you can do that. And now we get to have fun with the water while that dries. While that dries, we're going to do a couple coatings of purple on the on here. And we're using a bit of a darker version of the clouds. So my cloud color has dried, so I'm just going to move, oops, sorry about that. I'm going to move that. I'm going to get my purple, a little bit of black, a little bit of white, and maybe a little bit of blue. Maybe less blue. So I'm gonna grab my small brush, my small round brush that has a little tip to it. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on the bigger parts that I see that are dark. So there's a lot of dark spots over here, and I am gonna add a little bit of water, and the water's kind of going at it this direction. It's not flat, it's kind of crooked, it's coming out from an angle. Maybe not that much of an angle, maybe a little bit. So you can see I'm starting to add just the dark parts, the darkest areas that I can see. The cliff gives a natural darkness to the waves. So you can add some purple kind of lines coming out from that area. Just make sure, I'm just trying to make sure that they are in line with this line that I'm already trying to do. And you're just going to slowly add line after line after line. This is the tedious part that takes a little bit of time. The one thing that I'm trying to make sure is just that my lines all match the same. That's the one thing that I'm trying to keep consistent throughout it all. Because if that's off, then it might look a little weird. And then once you get the main sections of that on there, I went over it with a watered down version of that. I'm gonna go in with just smaller and smaller brushes and more detail. on the right hand side, I'm going to go ahead and add some black. Alright, so now that that is all done, I'm going to go ahead and grab my large brush. I'm going to do a second coat of black. And I'm actually going to face this towards me because it's really hard for me to see. It's hard for me to see with the reflections. So now that we have that, we can finish with some palm trees. Alright, so with our palm tree, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a liner brush. If you don't have a liner brush, just use the smallest round brush that you have and give yourself grace. I'm going to dip it in water, mix it with a little bit of my black, and really get a smooth application. By adding water to this, it allows me to have a it allows the paint to go on the canvas a lot easier. And I'm going to roll my brush in this paint and then lift out. The first thing I'm going to do is figure out where the base is. So I want one, there's one pretty much coming straight up. And if you want, you can put where you want it to end up. That sometimes is helpful. So I want one to end up right here. And the other one I want to come over here, kind of in between these clouds. And the other one I want right next to this cloud. That was weird. I almost went into like a Australian accent. I don't know why I said it that way. Alright, so this one's gonna come pretty much straight down. And then this next one, I'm going to turn this towards me because it's harder to see. It's harder to do when it's not next to me. I'm going to rest my hand on my other hand so that I have some stability. And I'm only going to use my hand. I notice I'm not using any of my arm for movement. This gives me an easier way to make a straight line. and be more controlled, because I want it straight, but I want to go into that that same connection to make a V. And sometimes I'll like visualize it before I start by going a couple times to making sure that I'm going to end up the right direction. I'm sorry, my hand is like right in the way, but that's just the name of the game right now. Alright, so once you get that, then you can come back and you can make it a little thicker if you need to. And I have to pull mine all the way down to the base. I make this one just a tad bit thicker. And then I'm going to do one more. Alright. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all of the palm frond like middles to figure out where I want everything to go. And then go from there. If you pre-drew this, you'll probably be able to see everything through your sky, in which case just follow that outline and do that. That's the cool part about doing the traceable, is that it kind of takes all the guesswork out of when you're painting, and you get to just paint without making a whole ton of decisions. Alright, so now that you got the basis of it, I'm going to show you a technique. I like to use this with my filbert, and let me show you why. I can literally do it right on my hand, so give me a second. I like to take my paint, get a good amount of water in it, make sure that it's all mixed up. Make sure that there's not too much paint in your brush. And then what I will do is I will take my brush, and I'll be able to brush in little, see that? I don't know if you can see it. Does it adjust? I don't know if it's going to adjust. So you can see all those little pieces that brush down. That's what I'm doing in any of my, and you have to have a good amount of water, but not so much water that you just don't still get those individual brush marks. Okay, so you can practice it on something else, a different piece of paper if you want to, till you get the hang of it. And then you're just going to go in here and you're going to put these little palm fronds in. If you want to put in each individual little tiny palm frond on there, be my guest, but that will take a long time, and that is, you will be on your own by the time you're done, which is totally fine if you want to do that. But for stuff like this, I really enjoy using this technique. It's one of my favorite palm frond techniques. You can see I'll go in with a little bit more black to make it not so transparent, but that is what it looks like really close up. And I'm just doing little tiny flicks. I'm placing my brush pretty much on that ledge, and I'm pulling down and flicking off. And not every palm frond is, you know, perfect in its shaping or how much is filled in. So if there's like pieces missing, like, don't stress about it. Let them be missing. Not every palm frond has all of its leaves, or, you know, it's perfectly shaped. It's nature in its definition is unique. So let them be unique. All right, and that is pretty much it. That's it. That's the end of the class. Thank you so much for joining me. I really liked painting this one. I always love doing clouds because it makes me feel like a kid scribbling on, a canvas. And then it always turns out so beautiful when you have these bright contrast in colors of a beautiful sky and then clouds over top and then water reflection. Just all of these things are so much fun. And obviously I love doing palm trees as well. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for allowing me to teach here and just have such a fun community. And speaking of community, I have a Facebook community where you can share your work. I love seeing other people's work. And if you're anything like me and you started painting before COVID, where everything was in person, you'll remember that at least one of my favorite things about doing in-person paint nights is at the end when everybody's done and you get to take a picture of everybody's finished work. And everybody got the same instruction, but they all look so different and so beautiful, and it was my favorite part. But painting online, I don't get to do that. I don't get to see your work unless you post it. So please go over to my page, my Facebook community page, and share your work. I'm going to be taking a picture here really quick. I will post my version of it in an album, and then you can just click on that album and add yours as well. If you don't want to add it to the album, that's okay too. You can just post it on the actual page, on the page, but then it will get lost in all of the posts, and then people probably won't ever see it again. So if you want it to be kind of a part of that group photo picture kind of thought, please add it to the album so other people can enjoy your painting as well, okay? I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. We will see you guys next week. Next week is a fun class. We are painting a mallard duck with a beautiful green coat. We're gonna have fun with it. I'm gonna try not to make it too realistic, maybe a little bit more impressionistic, but I do want to use bokeh for the background because we haven't done bokeh in a while, and gotta love bokeh. So feel free to tune in next week, and we'll see you then. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll paint with you soon. Bye guys.